find out more about the impact of the Me Too movement here in France, I'm joined by Annette Young, who's the host of The 51% on France 24, which focuses on women and women reshaping the world. And we're here in a very symbolic place. It's the Simone de Beauvoir Audiovisual Center, which is focused on producing and collecting documentaries about women's rights. Now, Annette, here in France, like elsewhere, the Me Too movement went viral. But according to recent polls, French people feel like it didn't actually change anything. Why was the impact so different here in France?
I think it says a lot about the French culture and the way in which men and women and the relationship between men and women is viewed, primarily because there's the culture here, which you've spoken about before, of seduction, of gallantry, of, being flirtatious. And as a result, the notion of inappropriate behaviour hasn't really been front and centre, if you like, of people's minds, particularly in the workplace and in other parts of society. And I think for French society in general, it's been a hard one to wrap their heads around.
Because we haven't seen as many heads roll here in France as, say, in the United States. Where does that French resistance come from?
I think it comes back to what I was just saying about the pride that French people have in their cultural traditions. And as a result, there is a sense among certain quarters of society that we're all grown-ups here, we all realise that sexuality is an integral part of life, and let's just accept it for what it is. I would argue, however, that they're in a shrinking minority, that there is also a generational shift between older women and younger women. There's a very different view of sexism. I call it a dividing line, if you like, between people aged 35 and above and 35 and under. And if you're 35 and under, that you're more likely to speak English, you're more likely to have lived or studied abroad. You've been exposed to other cultures as such beyond the hexagon. And therefore you're more open to the idea of equality, perhaps in the Anglo-Saxon way that we see it.
Do you think that this drive for more equality between men and women, does that compromise freedom, perhaps sexual freedom?
I would argue no, but that's probably because I'm Australian and living here, it's something that I believe very strongly that this country has a long way to go in terms of reaching equality and parity. Attitudes are starting to change. We are witnessing not only a digital revolution, but a gender revolution. There are more women than ever in the workforce. There are more women than ever at university. There are more women than ever who have independent financial means. And what does that mean at the end of the day? It means they have power. And we're starting to see that. Women are finding their voice and therefore they have the ability to change things. And as far as we see it on the 51%, that indeed is a good thing.
Well, it certainly is a good thing, and thank you so much, Annette. And if you haven't yet, do check out The 51%. It's a great show.